to the beginning. How did you discover your passion for acting?
For acting, well, yeah, I mean, I guess probably through my parents. My parents were involved in community theater, and my dad was an opera singer, so they were actually always trying to get me to do like the plays with them over the summers. But I was just playing sports and video games. So um, I don't know. I got into like TV film, I guess, in high school because I had an English teacher that let me record little student films rather than doing book reports because she was very kind and knew I wasn't a good writer and so that's kind of where I think my interest probably sparked, like in high school. And then and it wasn't until college when I took an acting class for fun that I really fell in love with it. And then, I decided I was like, well, maybe I'll try to do that because I actually enjoyed, going to class, like, the acting class and doing the work outside of the classroom. All my other classes I didn't enjoy. So then I just had the epiphany where I was like, all right, well, I should probably do something that I enjoy doing, or try to do something that I enjoy doing. And if that doesn't work out, at least I tried. So yeah. So it wasn't. I think it was a little later, high school, college age.
Yeah, when you look at your career as a whole, who or what's had the biggest influence, either personally or professionally?
Wow. I would say, well, going back to my parents again. I mean, they've just been supportive, and just completely, um, yeah, like I've never come to them and said, "Hey, I want to try to do this," and they've been like, "Oh, that's unrealistic," or like, you know what I mean? Like it's like they've always been just like, "Go for it," they're and just supported me the whole way. So I think they probably are the two biggest ones and the main ones. But aside from that, just yeah, like I wanted to do also something where I could connect to people, like a job that I felt like fulfilled me and gave me purpose and also, touched other people's lives. And all forms of art do that for me. So I'd like to be able to do it and to get paid for it is just, it's like I can't really ask for anything more. And I know movies and theater and all this and music for me that like there's songs or plays or movies that have touched my life that have made me think about who I am and what I do and who I want to be and also like I see myself in certain roles and that's just kind of what I've also wanted to do as well. So yeah, so I guess overall, just the culture of cinema and art and just the world at large, with all the stories that we're living out on a daily basis and that we're creating within, our own homes, even, our own relationships and stuff. But yeah, but there have been also just many people, too many to list that have kind of, been just incredible sources of positivity and support and mentors to me, from like managers to agents to other actors to musicians to family members. So, but I think I don't know, that might be a little vague, but it's really I just everything. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
everything is everything. I heard a great quote the other day from my girlfriend Darby. She was like, "Everything is everything always." Like we're all connected and everything is connected, and I think it's true. So yeah, but it makes
Well,
everything kind of vague. It's like oh, it's
that-
everywhere, the world. But yeah, so
You've had a lot of success already in your young career. When you look back, is there a particular moment that sticks out to you?
um yeah, I mean yeah, thanks. I've been very fortunate. I've been having yeah, it's been fun and there was the very first like SAG job I got was kind of like an amazing welcome to Hollywood moment because I was playing this like high school football player, which I tend to do, and I got like a cleat, like a foam football cleat thrown at my face by Kevin Costner in the scene. That was like my very first like professional like movie SAG gig, and and that was I think that's always still stick out to me. Like I can always just replay the whole day in like in my head, and because I grew up watching Kevin Costner and Nikki Caro was the director, and she's done a bunch of amazing things, and I so it was just this one kind of fascinating like moment where I was just like, this is really happening. And the one guy, this guy Vincent, was also in it, and he was like the voice of Phineas and Ferb, which is like a big cartoon at the time, and so it was kind of like this like just like kind of dream moment that I was like, oh, I'm doing it, like all this work that I put in, all the years, of college and whatnot, and the hard work that I put in, and moving to LA, and working a bunch of jobs, and grinding and all that. I was like, it's working. It was like kind of like seeing my garden, like seeing like the first tree sprouting up or something.
You're really open about kind of the challenges you faced when you were starting out in the industry. During those more kind of challenging times, how were you able to persevere? And what's one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
Yeah, yeah. It was always told to me there's no like, 1 + 1 = 2. Like there was no like, straight up formula, so to speak, or ladder. But so I like just keeping in mind that there was going to be challenges, and then whenever I was frustrated and challenged and going through whatever, whether it was like worrying if I was going to be able to pay rent, or whether it was like just being rejected and rejected after auditions and like all those things, I would always try to like keep in my mind that this too shall pass type of deal, like not to be dramatic, but there's times when career, life, rejection, whatever's happening, loneliness, all these things are kind of getting us down. And like, I just was always like, I would write like little post-it notes, or like, keep little like reminders on my phone. I would set a reminder for like a week or two in advance, and I'd just put like literally, it's corny, but like a positive message, like like believe in yourself, like you can do it, like that type of thing. And like all my alarms when I would wake up in the morning, they wouldn't be just like alarm, they wouldn't just say like alarm and like have the thing going off. It would say like like let's go, like drink more water, like have fun today, like be productive, or like or stretch more, or like breathe, like all these things. And so yeah, so like at those times of like it was also exciting to me, like living in Hollywood and working at a restaurant from like 8 p.m. till 3 a.m. So like while I was like bussing the tables and cleaning up and doing things, and I remember one time I'm just like cleaning up throw up at this bar that I was working at, and like somebody had puked. It was like a big tequila night and whatnot, and I was just cleaning it up, and it was like disgusting. But at the same time, I was like, cool, like I'm earning my stripes, like I'm actually like I'm doing it, like I'm like earning my like it made me feel more satisfied, because I just wasn't, because I do come from like I wasn't, I was like a middle class kid, I didn't ever like struggle for money or anything, with my parents. But it was like a way for me to be like, to remind myself and to feel actually fulfilled, like I wasn't getting handed everything. So that was like, I guess, to answer your question like in a somewhat shorter form, it's like just to enjoy the struggle and enjoy the tough moments, and not that it's 100% necessary. I also think that it can be dangerous for people to be like, well, I have to be a struggling artist, or like I have to go through a lot of pain and struggle in order to succeed, or in order to do something. But it's like, enjoy the hard work, I think, is like, enjoy, like get out of my head and just get into my body and into the present moment. And then time seems to go by differently too when that happens. It's like I can be doing a tedious job, and rather than it dragging on forever and feeling like it's sucking my soul out, it's like I'm doing it, but also I'm in my head and I'm dreaming and I'm thinking about like what I want to do, and wow, and who I want to be, and and then like, and being present with whoever is around me, and and just making those connections and friendships and everything. And it's just funny, like like it's all exciting to me. I think it's like the glass is half full versus the glass is half empty type of thing. But I definitely, if I could do one thing over, I probably would have I would have like maybe invested like $1,000 or $2,000 in like a decent car, and I probably would have tried to do Uber Lyft, because kind of make your own schedule, because the night shift was hard. I was nocturnal for a while, pretty much, for doing those bar shifts and everything. And but yeah, and then the other thing too, just like a constant thing that I've found has been helpful to me, is just literally like getting out of my own way, and being kind. Like whenever negative thoughts come up, it's not to suppress negativity, or if I feel something about somebody, but just to understand that, oh, maybe that person is going through something, and like, so maybe my judgment of them or my projection of them is based off of just this one interaction or these two interactions. And kindness never, it's never wasted. It's like, I've found that like the people that work a lot and that have these successful careers, there are a couple of them that are kind of like, you know, the divas that you hear about, or like the jerks and stuff in Hollywood. But the most part, they're really nice people, you know, like it blew me away. Like these professionals that have these 30-year, 40-year careers, and they're like the kindest people I've ever met. And so that goes a long way. You know, people want to work with positive people and kind people. And so, yeah, so that's another thing too, just to like, just to know that, you know, whatever struggle or you know, hardship is going on, it'll pass. And you know, that just to try to enjoy the hard work at the moment, and then by doing that, it's just amazing. It changes the whole environment. It's like flipping the light switch on, you know, and people will see that, and then next thing you know, you might get, you know, I don't know, I feel like I would get like random synchronicities would come in, you know what I mean, like a famous director would come into the restaurant, and I'm like working hard and I'm positive, and I'd be like, wow, and it would be something that was exciting, you know, almost like in like Super Mario, you know, when you get like a coin or something, you know, like it was just, yeah. So yeah, I don't know, just enjoy the hard work and take pride in the hard work, you know. Yeah.
That's a great answer. Speaking of hard work, you've got a new film coming out. Can you tell us about The Rising Hawk, your character, and what drew you to this project?
Yeah, The Rising Hawk was a ton of fun to shoot, because it was like, it was almost 3 months, but of like shooting in Ukraine. So that was cool. It was like, you know, going to a foreign country and getting paid to work over there. And I got to ride horses and, you know, do a bunch of like stunt training and fight choreography and all that. And it was exciting for me because I grew up watching, like, you know, Braveheart and Gladiator, and then I got to work with, you know, Tommy Flanagan, who's in it, who's in both of those. And just the overall message of the film was really was powerful, because at its core is, it's like about, you know, standing up against like a scary, you know, like evil force, so to speak, or like this you know, this force that's coming to, you know, to try to, you know, I guess, not to, like, you know, put it so bleakly, but to murder your village and your family, you know, because it was just the, you know, this incredibly powerful force back in the day of the Mongol horde. And yeah, it was just, it was a ton of fun, because in all the downtime, we would be training other things, you know, like, so when we'd have scenes where we were doing acting scenes, the stunt guys from Stunt a Lot would be on set with us, and in between camera setups, we'd go over and we'd work on the fight choreography, and we really maximized all of our time over there, because it was such a low budget shoot, all things considered, to pull off, you know, the grandness of everything, and the production value was out of this world. Like everything that they built over there, you could like use, like the village they built, you could literally like live in those houses and climb on the walls. And you know, the costumes were 100% authentic. They were all like handmade, and we had these beautiful leather costumes, and like, you know, sheepskin and all this. And Tommy Flanagan had this like 60-pound like chainmail like armor thing that he had to wear. And it was just fun, man. It was fun to be in that world, and to go back and um, really just take in the landscape, because the Carpathian Mountains are just gorgeous. You know, they're these huge mountains, and they're beautiful. And the story itself is like, it's like a tale that, you know, that kids are taught at a young age, kind of. It's like this historical fiction of their country, and before it was, you know, what it is today. And yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, I just I guess it was like a childhood dream, you know, to pretend to be running around with swords, and to, you know, to act out all that, but to be able to act it out, and to, like, you know, exercise all those inner feelings of, you know, rage and all that, and courage and all that whatnot. Yeah, it just was interesting. It was that's what drew me to it. And Robert Patrick was playing my dad, and I've gotten to work with him before, and he's just a crazy old nut, and he's like super talented and professional. And so it was super fun. So when he told me that he had referred me for the job, was very thankful and excited to work with him again, because he's always a blast. We always have a lot of fun. And yeah, and then the rest of the cast, it was just this incredible like international cast, you know. So that was a fun opportunity. I've never worked on anything like it, where, you know, I got to work with, you know, Sarenbold Segmid from Mongolia, who's like the biggest actor in Mongolia, and like, you know, this guy Rajan, who's just this incredible actor, you know, and Ukrainian actors, and you know, Andre and Helena Kovalenko, and it was just fun, man. You know what I mean? It was like one of those, like, I was working with somebody from Ireland and from England and from Scotland and from Mongolia. And like, there was a stunt team from like Kyrgyzstan and Mongolia, like Nomad Stunts, who are incredible. And I'm pretty sure they were one of the stunt teams in that like latest Mulan, remake and all that. And just wonderful stunt teams, like the whole crew and stunt team and the horse team, like the Ukrainian Cossacks, like, it was just, you know what I mean? It was just one of those, like, holy shit, like I'm learning how to like ride with like a top international, caliber stunt team. And so that was all just super exciting. And obviously, like, I love to travel too, so to get paid to go travel and act is like, I don't know, that's like like I love that. I could do that forever. So
Yeah, like you were just saying, all the actors went through this intense combat, horse weapon training, and you have an athletic background. How beneficial was that as you
yeah.
prepared to embark on this journey?
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. Like, I used to, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a professional athlete. Like when I was young, and I was like always playing all the sports and everything. And then as I got older, I kind of got a little more lazy. And then I realized I was like, it's probably not like, this would take a lot of work and effort and like, just total dedication to be a professional athlete. So, and skill and all that I just didn't possess. But the good news is that it has paid off for my acting career because then I can, like, fake it till I make it type of deal with certain things like that. And the long shoot days when we're shooting for 8 hours or 10 hours and where we have to be running for, 4 hours basically, like off and on whenever they change cameras. But when we're just constantly just doing the scene over and over, running through the woods or, jumping over things. And the fight choreography was amazing because it really, like, I feel like people say it's kind of like a dance, and it is because it has all these steps, and you have, your partners or whoever you're fighting against, your group. And it was a total skill. Like, it was an incredible experience learning it, because the first day or two was so frustrating. Like, I just it was not clicking in my brain. It was like learning a new language almost. And but then after like a couple of days, like, it just started getting more and more familiar and in my body. And then by the end of it, like, we were just doing all types of different things. They were giving us all different weapons, and we were learning all these new skills. And Dima and Pasha, the guys from Stunt a Lot, the stunt directors, like, they were just so patient with us, and like, and they had to do so much. And it was really fun. We would shoot little movies of the fight scenes before we did the training of it, so that we could see like where the camera setups would be and everything. And that helped a lot with the whole overall film, because it was like a storyboard for all the scenes. So since we had like limited time and limited budget, it was just like, it was just super helpful. But yeah, but the athletic part of it was like, I think I was in the best shape of my life actually when we filmed this, which was like, I guess 2018 or whenever that was. Yeah. So yeah, it was fun.
And speaking of that limited budget and these big intricate fight scenes that you had, as an actor, did you feel pressure to kind of nail it in one take?
Sure. Yeah. 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 All that constantly. Yeah. Yeah. And just because I'm like a very like hypercritical of myself, type of person. And so, but like, fortunately, everyone was so good. You know what I mean? It was one of those, like, all the like Poppy and Rocky and Oliver and Robert and Tommy, like all everyone that had to do fight stuff were so good. Like, it was, like, and I think a few of them had previous fight experience, like fight training and all that. But for the most part, people, they just picked it up and were really good. And Rocky became so good at it that they started giving him, like, I remember at one point they gave him like two swords instead of one, and they were teaching him all this like amazing, like, martial arts moves in addition to the sword stuff that he was able to incorporate. And yeah, it was just John was super enthusiastic too, and Aktem, the two directors. And like, so I felt the pressure to try to knock it out because of the time constraints in the budget, but also I knew that it was all for the greater good. You know what I mean? Like, they were always super excited and supportive. And yeah, and we had a few bloopers that I hope get on the DVD at some point for with everybody. But for the most part, yeah, we were able to knock it out pretty quickly because of all the training and the prep that we had, throughout the whole process. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, your character has a really dramatic transformation throughout the film. Did you draw on any personal experiences when building this character?
Yeah, yeah. When I was a kid, my hometown of Frenchtown was invaded actually by pirates, and no, they the no, we I think I just drew on like just the idea of these past historical dramas like Braveheart, or like these things when the an oppressing government force type of deal, or an oppressive, like ruling, conquering group, tried to take over, and it opened my eyes up a lot to cinema in general and to storytelling, because I was like, oh shit, I hope this isn't like another like tale of like, these white guys, getting invaded by the evil, brown people, you know what I mean? Like whether it's been in Westerns with like, the Native Americans and the cowboys, and or whether it's been, I don't know, and any, like, you name it, you know what I mean? There's been all these different things. And at its core, like, I think it's a little different because it's just more about like the Mongolian horde, which back in the day were like, these bad dudes. Like they were just these, these really ruthless pirates of the land, kind of like Vikings in a way, like Mongolian Vikings, and just ravaging and destroying villages and taking over and conquering. So yeah, just as far as like drawing on stuff from previous, that was all in my head and that was all in my mind. And then just, like I was pretty fortunate, or maybe unfortunate for acting purposes, but I didn't experience a whole lot of death when I was a kid. I experienced a couple family members passing, but I was much younger and they were much older. So when it came to like, family members passing and all that stuff, that was a little difficult for me to draw on. But yeah, but then the side stories, the love and the romance and stuff, for sure, drawing on, young love and falling in love and what it's like, and or being in love with somebody that's like, just out of reach, or unavailable. And yeah, there was a lot of human things to draw from. um but uh but yeah, but for sure, like, I don't know, it was one of those things where everything that needed to get there and to be there was there, because we were just so, like, it was just so authentic, you know what I mean? Like, we would have fires burning around us, and like, the horse team like riding around doing their amazing stunts while the battle's going on and everything. And it was just so in your face and real. Like, there was a lot of practical stunts and practical things. So it was easy to just be present and to draw from what was happening in the moment,
But
you know.
besides the Rising Hawk, you have a ton of other upcoming projects coming out soon. Are there any that you can talk about at this time?
Yeah, yeah, I would love to actually. So what's today, the 23rd? So on the 25th of September, All Roads to Perla comes out, and that was really fun. And that's by Van Dittafong, and we filmed that a couple years ago too, and it's finally just now seeing the light of day, given the circumstances and everything with the state of cinema and all that. But yeah, it's a really cool kind of, it's like a thriller, coming of age thriller, a little bit about a high school wrestler who kind of gets dragged into a little bit of an underbelly of a small town, and some crazy things happen. But yeah, but that's going to be out on VOD, I think, and online on the 25th of September. It's called All Roads Lead to Perla, or All Roads to Perla. It keeps changing. It used to be like Sleeping in Plastic, and now it's All Roads to Perla. But that was fun. Um, and then yeah, Unpregnant is out on HBO Max now, and that's a really interesting movie. Whether it kind of revolves around a central theme of abortion and teenage pregnancy and stuff. So, but it did a really good job of just kind of navigating through and kind of showing two sides of it, and not really shaming either side for having it, but at the same time showing like, the I don't want to say like the comedy of that, because it's such a serious and it's such a just a hard thing. But at the same time, it kind of does it with a very light touch. It does it very in a very good way, in a very sophisticated way, and it pulls out a lot of good points, and it's just great. I hope people talk about just that issue more about it, and try to see it from both sides. And so yeah, that's out now. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm trying to think of anything else that's coming out. I feel like I had a couple films that just sort of like whisked away in in the archives for a little bit, and now that things are kind of starting to open back up. But yeah, I think those are the two big ones, and then the Society on Netflix. If anybody's still watching that, I mean, we were super bummed that we got canceled, but we had a really fun time shooting that, and we feel like we didn't get closure for that, so we feel bad for all the fans, So, but yeah, I think that's it. That might be it. Just All Roads to Pearl are coming out, and then The Rising Hawk on October 2nd, and Unpregnant right now on HBO Max. So yeah.
And then we just like to end all of our interviews with a pop culture speed round. Do you have a guilty pleasure TV show?
Ooh, guilty pleasure TV show. Breaking Bad. I binged the crap out of that. Yeah, yeah.
What about a guilty pleasure movie?
A movie, like something that I just watch all the time.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Let me think. A movie. I mean, The Grinch with Jim Carrey. I feel like that's probably one of the films I've seen over and over, or like Shrek and stuff. I used to watch Ice Age all the time back in the day. I like those kind of like animated, silly movies. So.
What about a favorite book?
Favorite book. Definitely up there is The Alchemist. I think The Alchemist is an incredible book, and it's a simple read, and it's beautiful, and it's just, yeah, it's almost like one of these, like a bingey TV show where you can just, zip right through it. Um, and also beyond that, like speaking of the Society before, like Lord of the Flies, like really like hit me when I was a kid. So that's always been, um, something that's been in my mind. And then the fantasy, like The Hobbit. I really loved reading The Hobbit, and yeah, those are probably a couple of my favorite books. Yeah.
What about a favorite play or musical?
Favorite player musical. Well, last year I was very fortunate because I was living in New York, and I got to go see a bunch of plays, and the musical that really just floored me, in a good way, just like was the band's visit, or band's visit, and that was incredible, and that was it was just so beautiful. It was just so sweet, and it wasn't drawn out. It was very tight, and really well done. And then a play that, I mean, like last year, there was a couple. I saw Fairview, which was just completely like mind blowing, and just like, I don't know, ground shaking. It was one of those. It really just completely opened up anybody who came to see that show. It just opened up everybody in the audience, and um, especially like the white audience in general. It was just like such like a mirror and a reflection of to the state of the times, and to what's been going on and what's happening. And I would say, so that with Fairview, and another great one, last year that I saw was like Ain't No Mo, at the Public, and that was just like, I hope that gets a Broadway run, because that was another similar one. It was about gentrification, and about basically like it was almost like a fantasy, almost like opera style in a way, because it was like done in such a lucid, dreamlike way, but it was just powerful, man. That was just some really powerful stuff. And then Grief is the thing that I'm just gonna, like, I saw so many shows last year. Sorry, Kevin. I know it should just be
Yeah,
like
I love
one,
that.
but Grief is the Thing with Feathers. That was amazing too. And that was like, and Cillian Murphy was in it, and I don't know if you know him from Peaky Blinders and from all these other films, but he was fantastic. Like, I loved him as a TV actor and like a film actor, but when I saw him do that, I was like, man, this guy's like an incredible stage actor. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess, but favorite play, the ones that stuck with me was like Ain't No Mo by Jordan E. Cooper, and Fairview by Jackie Sibby's, Drury. I think it's Sibby's Drury, or maybe Drury Sibby's, but she's incredible. She's this amazing playwright, and yeah, so I guess those, and then the band's visit for the musical. Oh yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think
So
we'll ever see you do any theater productions?
I would love to. Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, if I like, so I moved to New York last year wanting to do that, you know, and I auditioned for it was mostly just TV though while I was there, and but I got to train with some really amazing teachers like Patsy Rodenberg and Joan Lader and these really incredible teachers, and I would love to. Yeah, for sure. My agents in LA don't want me to because there's no money, but yeah, but I would love to for sure. Yeah.
Love it. What about a band or artist that's that fans would be surprised is on your playlist?
A band or artist that's on my playlist that they would be surprised. I don't know if they'd be surprised, but I mean, like Papa Roach. I don't know if you know Papa Roach.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. I grew up listening to them, and then I recently I went to a wedding in Temecula, and I had rented a Tesla because I wanted to like I thought it'd be cool, and I was like, you know, why not? You know, let's do it. And I didn't realize that like you really need to like the range on them is not really what like always what it is, like depending on if it's hot out or if you're going up and down hills and stuff, and the speed you're going and all that. And I took the Tesla down to Temecula, and I ran out of charge after the wedding, and I was like, well shit, what am I going to do? There's no cell service. I'm out in here kind of like this desert canyon area of like these farmlands and vineyards and stuff, and I was like, well, I just got to pull over to the next like mansion I see or the next house I see and hope that they have like a charging station or that I can just plug in for a little bit. And so I saw a big house and I pulled over and I went to the gate, and the gate was like, there was no buttons on it. So I was like, well, I got to get in. I got to figure out. So I like shimmied through the gate and I started walking down the driveway, and I was like, I think I just broke into like this like huge like estate. Like, oh shit. Like, I hope that like, obviously I mean no harm, but like I hope that they know that and like they don't like shoot me or you know or do whatever. And so I'm walking down the driveway, and I see like all these cars and everything, and I'm just like, wow, this is an amazing estate. And I just I was kind of blown away by it. And then and I ring the doorbell, and this guy opens the door, and he's he's kind of younger. He's got tattoos on his arms, and he's got a hat on and everything. And I told him the story. I was like, man, I broke down. I'm like, I don't have any battery. I have no cell service. Like, can I just plug in my vehicle to like any outlet that you have for a little bit? And he's like, yeah, we don't really live here. We're just Airbnb it, but like, yeah, come, let's go find it. And so we walked around the property, and we found an outlet, and I plugged it in, and the outlet was only getting like, less than a mile per hour of charge. So he's like, well, how long is it going to take? And I was like, dude, I honestly probably a few hours. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'll leave and I'll come back. And he's like, no, man. He's like, you know what? No, just chill, man. Come on by. And I was like, all right, man. I'm so sorry. Like, so we're walking down the driveway, and it was an amazing estate. This huge like mansion. And I was like, so I was like, what do you do, man? He's like, oh, I'm in a band. And I'm like, oh, like, well, what band? And like, would I know of them? And he's like, yeah, probably. He's like, Papa Roach. And I was just like, what? Like, fucking Papa Roach? And because the guy who I'm talking about, this guy Twan, who's amazing. He's like a younger brother of one of the founding members. So like I didn't really recognize him from growing up because he wasn't actually in the band when I was like hardcore listening to him. But anyway, but we go back to the house. The whole band's there. They're recording a freaking album and everything. You know what I mean? It was just like this incredible experience. I got to just hang out with them for a couple hours while my car charged in Temecula. It was just bizarre. But Papa Roach, I would say maybe might surprise them because yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I got a whole eclectic like thing of music, but I'd say they're up there for sure.